Okay, so today we have Franchesca Myers with us.
Hello.
Hi, my love. Thank you for joining us. Today we're going to be talking about her nonprofit organization, Poised Prepared. We're also going to be talking about our time working together at a sex offender program and the fact that we got our master's in family therapy.
Yay!
Okay, so tell me more about Poised Prepared, because I think it's amazing that you're 25, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you started your own nonprofit organization. So how did that even come to be?
Okay, so Poised Prepared came up, I want to say we really put it into effect and into practice in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
In 2014, I started working with DCF, and I remember I would call my friend every day
Mm-hmm.
because I guess I grew up very sheltered,
Yeah.
not knowing what was going on out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I would call her every day venting about what was going on, the kids that were in the system, how unfortunate the situations were, how they didn't have really any positive outlook. And then I started also noticing a cycle.
Mm-hmm.
The same kids that were in the system, they're in the system now as parents. So it's just like this repeating cycle that's happening over and over again. So I just felt like I wasn't doing enough.
Mm-hmm.
So me and my friend, we came together and we started Poised Prepared. And the whole point of Poised Prepared was, is confidence is key.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like regardless of your circumstances, regardless of what you've been through, regardless of your background, I feel like if you have that confidence, no matter what, you will go out, you will succeed, and you will do better.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty much just all of our events are really dedicated to instilling confidence. So one of our annual events that we have, and it was our first event, was it's called Study in Style, and we just go to like a local foster home and we just do the little kids' hairs, because I'm all about if you look good, you feel good, you perform good.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And who is Poised Prepared geared towards?
Poised Prepared is geared towards, I want to say underprivileged youth, doesn't matter their age.
Okay.
We have events that are catered to the younger, so 3 to elementary school age, but then we also have like our events like Power of Love, which was catered to preteens and teenagers.
I remember when you were telling me Power of Love.
Power of Love. So we wanted to do it during Women's Empowerment Month, and a lot of times people don't realize how much love for a friend, love for your parents, love for another person dictates what you do in life. And unfortunately, if you haven't been loved properly by your family, sometimes you fall into situations and relationships where you're being loved not properly, pretty much. You base it off of what you've been shown. So if you think in your mind that this has been good all this time, you're going to accept it from somebody else. So Power of Love was just helping. The point was power, but instead of power, we wanted to put power, just so that you can realize that within yourself, even if you don't have the love from your friends and your family, you can find that love within, that self-love. And sometimes that self-love is just enough to guide you to finding the proper love.
No, I definitely agree with what you were saying about how what you see at home is going to be kind of like how you learn to love yourself, and then what you look for out in the world, whether you're male or female. And so when you have, let's say, maybe you didn't have the best reflection of love at home, and then let's say you don't view you're the type of person who takes that and internalizes it, you're going to go out into the world and end up in toxic relationships one after the other, or a long-term toxic relationship, and pass that on to your kids.
Yeah, and unfortunately, especially in the foster care system, we all hear about human trafficking victims, but a lot of people don't realize that a lot of the human trafficking victims also traffic themselves. So that's what I was realizing, because we have this, in DCF we have this court called Grace Court, and it's for human trafficking victims. But then as I got a case that was in the human trafficking division, I realized she's not being trafficked. She's trafficking herself. What do you think of, like, think about it? Let's say one of my kids, for example, she said to me she wanted to get her nails done. And I'm like, okay, look, your allowance.
Yeah.
So she's in a group home. She goes to regular school, but yet she only gets $5 a week. So $20 a month.
Yeah.
What is that going to do? Our nails don't even cost $20 to do.
No, they don't.
Like, so imagine you want a manicure.
To take care of yourself, to feel like, like to feel beautiful.
And so we send these kids, unfortunately, to regular schools, and then it's like they see kids whose parents are there buying them the latest sneakers, their hair is always done, nails always done, they have the
latest gadgets and toys.
Exactly. What do you think their kids are going to do? They can't get the money from their parents because their parents aren't in their life. The system's not giving them the money. So
they traffic themselves.
Unfortunately, to them, the easiest way is, because if you think about it, when I was 16, before I started driving, I got my first job. My mom was bringing me to and from work.
Yeah.
These kids don't have that.
They take a bus, or getting a ride from a person they don't know.
And even then, they're not really allowed to, just because they're under DCF custody. So because of that, I learned that they were trafficking themselves. So I just kind of felt, if you have that self-love, sometimes you wouldn't fall into those circumstances of putting yourself in the position to do so.
Yeah, it's like a safeguard. It could be a safeguard. It's not always, but it's one way. So do you work with like a lot of women or girls who are like who have sex trafficked themselves, or?
On my caseload, I've had 2, potentially 3.
Oh, wow.
So when I say potentially 3, it's just one where we may see the signs, but she's not there yet. So now that we see the signs, it's like, how can we turn her in the opposite direction?
So working for DCF, how you mentioned earlier, made you want to start Poised and Prepared.
Yes.
And then who else started Poised and Prepared with you? Was it just yourself? Or
So it was my friend Shirley.
Okay.
So she doesn't work with DCF or anything like that. It was just honestly just me venting to her. Me venting to her every day, honestly.
Yeah.
It probably felt like every day.
And then you both just decided that you wanted to start this.
Yes. So we were just like, we need to do more. We need to do more.
So how often are you hosting like different? Because you said it seems like you host like a wide variety of events. You said you do it for all ages. So like how often are you hosting events?
So we're not hosting events as often as we like, just because of school. Like you mentioned, we just graduated.
Yeah.
So we, like I said, we have our biannual event. So we have the back to school event that happens every August, and then we do one January, like right after Christmas break.
Okay.
So that one. Then we had the first Power of Love. And then we also do like mini events with other nonprofits.
Oh, wow.
So another friend of mine, he has a nonprofit called Just Do It, or Just Use Some Temporary Energy.
Okay.
And so with him, like, he does this event in Haiti, actually, where he has a school that he adopted. So my organization, Poised Prepared, we made like little hair kits.
Aww.
So sometimes we can't do the big events, but as long as we try to help other local nonprofits in their events.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Like, I like the idea of like teaming up in like unity to like get the same message across. Like, it doesn't always have to be like your name on like the big board. Like, it could be someone else you're just trying to help in any way.
And that's honestly, sometimes you can't always, especially with life and how life goes on, you can't always do these big events, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Especially for a smaller nonprofit that's just starting out, that funds, and unfortunately, so we just dedicate our time to our big events that are ours, that are close to our heart, which was the Study in Style and now Power of Love, and just team up with other nonprofits.
And what is it like for you to be like a part of something like, or not even only a part of it, but to like have created something like Poised and Prepared?
It's stressful. just because you want to do so much. And it's constantly like, okay, how can we do this? What can we do? How much more can, like, you always want to do more. So I think that's stressful about it, but it's so worth it, because when you see the kids at the end of the events, especially the study, like, I love the study and style one. That one to me is just because I love fashion, I love looking good. So for me to, I really do. So when I see like the kids sometimes, just to see that smile on their face when their hair is finished, it's just like they have all of the personality and sass in the world. Like, I love sassiness. So when you see them, like, first they go from like being timid and to just that smile, and it's so worth it.
Rewarding.
Definitely.
So how can, like, people in the community, like children in the community or parents in the community, like, attend one of your events or, like, get involved?
So we have our Facebook, which is our main way of communication. We always, any events that we're doing or any events that we're partnering up with other organizations with, we're constantly promoting them on our Facebook page, which is Poised Prepared. Then we also have our Gmail that you can just email us and we get back to you, and that's poisonprepared@gmail.com.
Okay.
And we just email you back with
like what's going on and stuff like that.
But I would say definitely Facebook, because we promote our events, we promote other events going on in the community.
Oh, okay, that's really cool. I like that.
So
what would you say, where would you say that you see this organization in 5 years?
In 5 years...
Poised and Prepared.
In 5 years, I would see it where... What I would really want, like, I want it to be big. But, like, if I want, like, let's talk about, like, for example, one of the main events. So, study and style. I would see it where we're hosting, and not just us, like, where I may be at one particular location, but at the same time we have multiple study and styles going on at each of the different, because there's a lot of foster homes and group homes in Broward County alone.
Yeah.
So I would see it where there's something always going on, where at least every other month we're doing an event or helping an event. I would see us doing a lot of big things in 5 years. Hopefully, I don't want to tell all the secrets, but we got some big dreams.
Yeah, because I think in 5 years we can definitely have investors and, like, people wanting to, like, people want to help, you know? Like, yeah, there's a lot of, like, you can focus on negativity if that's what you want to do, but, like, there's a lot of people out there who want to help and, like, you know, especially want to help humble people who are, like, starting off, like, young and new, and, like, you know, like, you're out here, like, running your own business, like, that's beautiful.
Definitely, that's the goal. We're trying. Definitely, we have our letters going out, so it's just about finding
I'll
those
be praying
people.
about that for you, putting that into the universe.
Thank you.
So, are you also, like, is there, like, can volunteers get involved?
Most definitely, we always take volunteers. Same way, contact us on Facebook or through email.
So volunteers can come out and help out at events and stuff?
Of course.
Okay, that's cool.
Of course. Of course.
I also want to, on the Pow Her events, like, I know, like, you had spoke about, like, how you like to have other women who are, like, doing stuff in the community. Like, tell me more about that.
So for Power of Love, so for this last event that we had, I want to say 4, I believe it was 4 ladies of different races, shapes, and sizes with different experiences.
What kind of, like, did they?
We had one lady who, she was a human trafficking victim herself.
Wow.
So she was a human trafficking victim. She now has her nonprofit dedicated to helping human trafficking victims.
That's beautiful.
We have one of another friend of mine. She was a teen mom. She suffered from depression. She did get involved with, like, substance abuse when she was younger, and now she's doing her thing. She's finding herself, and she's just raising her daughter, and they're amazing.
She rose above that situation. She grew from it.
Yep. So we had her, and then we had another young lady who, she's a teacher, but then she also has, she's a makeup artist. Okay. And then she's a YouTube blogger as well.
Oh, wow.
For her makeup line. And
she has a lot going on.
She has a lot going on. Mm-hmm. So I just kind of felt like that confidence is key kind of thing. And we had little workshops. Mm-hmm. Very intimate, where they were just sitting in a circle. I think it was probably like 5 to 8 of them in the group, where they can just share. Mm-hmm. So it started off with, like, for 15 minutes, one of them was sharing their story of what they've gone through, mm-hmm. just so that the kids can see that there's someone who may be going through that same situation or who is dealing with the same things mm-hmm. as they may be going through. And then allowing them time to conversate and mm-hmm. interact with one another.
That sounds like a beautiful event.
I love that event just because I like the fact that we were able to bring in different women. Mm-hmm. And I feel like they all went to each station, but each station offered something different.
Mm-hmm. That's beautiful.
So, of course, for that, volunteers, if you have a story mm-hmm. or if you want to share, we would love that. Just because
we need that.
A lot of times, unfortunately, especially with these foster kids, they get case managers, they get social workers like myself. Mm-hmm. They don't want to listen to me.
Yeah.
They don't. All they see is, oh, this person's in charge of me now.
Exactly, that's what I was thinking.
Versus seeing someone who they don't even know, mm-hmm. telling them something similar.
Yeah, it's easier, I could see how it's easier to see themselves in someone else who's not in charge of them, an adult who telling mm-hmm. them what to do, has to report for them.
Think about it. Our parents used to tell us all the time, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this. Mm-hmm. And we were like, you're just telling us this, you're our parent. Yeah. That's how they look at it. Mm-hmm. But if a teacher that you were close to told you this, or a close friend, mm-hmm. you're more likely to listen.
For sure. I can identify with that because I had my parents, my mom was always like, you can talk to me about anything, blah, 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 but like that's still awkward, but like when I had a mentor and she like helped me through like a lot in my life, and she was older than me, but like mm-hmm. I saw myself in her and I felt like I can trust her. She was like cool. I felt like she was like my older sister. So definitely.
I think that was just being able to have outside people mm-hmm. come in and speak to them.
So if you guys want to get involved in Poised Prepared, hit up her social media or Gmail. And definitely, I know there's a lot of powerful women out there who want to help too. So
Thank you. Definitely contact us.
Mm-hmm.
We love support. We love others. We love volunteering. So.
Okay, so I think you're just a very interesting person because you've worked in DCF, so you've worked with children who come mm-hmm. from not the greatest background, abusive backgrounds, mm-hmm. and then you help women who have been human sex trafficked, women or children, both and men, who've been physically, sexually, mentally abused. But you also decided to intern for a year at a sex offender program.
Yep.
Why? Which I'm sure people are wondering.
Different circumstances. So, I working with DCF, obviously, I do get sexual abuse cases, and I did get a sexual abuse case where the child pretty much expressed that she didn't want to live with her dad, but mm-hmm. she wanted to have visits. To me, forgiveness is a big thing, but yet I wasn't exemplifying that. Mm. Whenever I got a sexual abuse case, I wouldn't talk to him or her, whoever committed the act, wouldn't talk to them. But how is that forgiveness? That was something I was battling with. And then when a 14, 15-year-old said that to me, I was like, wait, I'm an adult and she's showing more forgiveness mm-hmm. than me, and this act happened to her. Mm. So that started my journey of wanting to understand
the
more
other
about
side.
Mm-hmm. Just how can I advocate for a child who has been sexually abused if I don't even know the other side of it.
If you didn't even care to look over there. So that is why you wanted to do the sexual abuse program.
Different reasons. Mm-hmm. That was one of them.
Okay. And so what are some of the greatest lessons you learned about yourself working with this population?
One of the greatest lessons that I learned about myself working with the sex offender population is that
Like, what did working with this population that's highly ostracized, like, what did you learn about yourself through that?
I learned that two things. First thing is I learned my calling. I knew that no matter what area of work I wanted to work in, it had to be with an underprivileged population. Mm-hmm. So in a way, DCF is underprivileged youth. Mm-hmm. Sex offenders are underprivileged people of society. Yeah. Like, people don't see it like that, but most
people think they deserve, but, yeah. But also, I don't think they realize that the limitations that are put on sex offenders in probation mm-hmm. don't even sound like the safest for anybody.
No. And then I also learned that people are people. Mm-hmm. And anybody can make a mistake. Mm-hmm. And then some people, you see that, like, it's that whole, everybody always says, don't judge a book by its cover, don't judge a book by its cover. Mm-hmm. But it's such a cliche saying, so we never really, like, understand what it really means. Mm-hmm. Until you're actually in a situation where you've probably judged someone by the cover. Mm-hmm. So even before then, like I said, sex offenders to me, they're like, no. Yeah. No. Like, what do you mean?
You can't contact
what you mean? Like, don't get away from me. But then interacting with these guys, they were awesome. Like, honestly, mm-hmm. a lot of them were very, kind. They were kind. They were cool. Like, I don't even know if I told you about it one day. I think I did. Mm-hmm. I had the bruise. Mm-hmm. I remember I had the bruise, and I got the bruise from gym. We were lifting mm-hmm. weights. The bruise fell on me. The weight fell on me, and I had, like, this huge bruise. Like, you kind of see it right there. Do you see it?
It's still there.
Okay. And I didn't even notice that I took my jacket off. And who was it? One of them saw the bruise. Mm-hmm. And when I tell you, he went ballistic. Yeah. This is a sex offender who sees a bruise on me. Mm-hmm. That's going ballistic. Mm-hmm. He thought he was ready. He mm-hmm. thought maybe somebody else did it. Mm-hmm. He thought that he honestly thought a guy was abusing me. Mm-hmm. And to see that compassion that he had, it was like, wait.
Mm-hmm. You don't fit the box that society tries to put you in.
You're so different than what people want us to believe you are.
I loved how you wrote that.
So